is Rachel Mozingo, and I'm the Academic Success Coordinator here at Cameron for the Center for Writers and Academic Success, and welcome to our new YouTube series, See You at Tutoring. This is what your basic Word document looks like when you open it up. This is using a laptop desktop version. I highly suggest you only work on a laptop or a desktop. Try to do it on your phone. Is not very efficient when it comes to writing papers. Tablets are okay, but again, if you can access a desktop or laptop computer, that's the best case scenario. Okay, so this is what it looks like on a laptop. For MLA, you're going to want to check your size of your paper and make sure it's the standard 8.5 by 11. Every time you open a new Word document, it typically auto formats to this, but you still want to go to the layout tab on this ribbon and then click size and make sure it's 8.5 by 11. Additionally, you want to check your margins and make sure that they're 1-inch margins all around the board. If you're using Google Docs, this looks a little different, and a lot of the Google Docs margins are not the 1-inch all around, so you really want to check that. All right. Next, you definitely want to check your font. Okay, so you want your font to be that Times New Roman. If it's not in your recently used fonts, you're going to have to scroll all the way down, or you could just type it in. And then it'll need to be 12 point, not 11 point, okay? So you can type it in, you can use this to search for it. You could press this icon right here and it'll make it larger, smaller. So there's lots of different ways you can do the same thing in Word. That's another thing I think people get a lot of confused about. There's usually not one way to do everything. So just do what works best for you. So now that we've made sure our pages are the right sizes and that our margins are good, we can now start with the running head. Again, for MLA, your running head is going to be your last name space page number. So I suggest starting with, if you're just in your home tab up here, you want to double click into this top area. If you double click, it'll open up the header for you. Okay, so if you don't know how to get there, you'll just go to, I think it's layout. Actually, to be honest, I've never, oh, here you go. You go to insert and then your page number will be right here in the header and footer section. So again, 2 ways to do everything. I always just double click. I've never done it any way differently. So now we know. So if you double click, your page number is going to be right here. You'll want to click, like hover over with your cursor top of the page, and then you're going to want to go down to plain number 3. This will make sure that your page number is all the way aligned to the right. And then next, all you have to do is just type in your last name and hit space. So big thing to note here is that this is actually still in Calibri font. It is not in the Times New Roman font like you need it to be. So you have to double click this and change this to Times New Roman 12 point as well. A lot of students don't know that. And it's very jarring as a professor when you get your paper like back from your students and that this is in a completely different font. The next thing you want to set up for your MLA paper is your heading section. And so the first line should be your first and last name. You'll hit enter. Your second line should be your professor's first and last name. So I'll put Dr. Carney because he teaches English Comp 1. And then let's say your class, the next line is your class. So if it's English Comp 1, it'll be ENGL, and then your course code. I think English Comp 1 is 1113, but don't quote me on that. Make sure you check your syllabi. And then finally, the next line will be the date, and the date will actually be in date, month, year format. I always get it confused, and you're always going to make it the day that it's due. Okay, so let's say the paper is due today, then you'll put 4 August 2022. Okay, so that is the date, and then you'll press enter. The next thing you're going to do is create a title for your paper. So you'll hit under this paragraph tab up here, you'll hit this middle center alignment bar, and then you'll just insert a title. Then you'll press enter once more, and then you'll have to make sure you align it back to the left to make sure your paper is actually aligned to the left as it should be. So in a nutshell, that is how you basically format it. And then I'm actually going to share my screen and show you a real paper from Purdue OWL, and it'll show you what it looks like with real words. So again, this is Purdue OWL. This is not my own. But as you can see, it has the student's name, the professor's name, the class, course title and course code, as well as the date and then the title. And that is how you basically format an MLA paper.